Bloody Mary, the Mirror Legend of Terror. Bloody Mary is one of the most famous urban legends in the world, particularly within the United States and other Western cultures. The story is frequently invoked in dares and party games, where teenagers challenge one another to confront a malevolent spirit face to face through the surface of a mirror. The Ritual of Darkness. The core of this legend lies in a ritual that appears deceptively simple yet remains deeply unsettling. The participant must enter a bathroom or a room that is pitch black, often lit by only a single candle. Standing before a mirror, the person must chant the name Bloody Mary 3 times. Some variations require 13 repetitions, or spinning in a circle while chanting. According to legend, upon finishing the invocation, the reflection of a woman with a blood-soaked face appears in the mirror, intending to attack the summoner or drive them to madness. Who is Bloody Mary? The origins of the name Bloody Mary are remarkably diverse, with local folklore often attempting to anchor the spirit to historical figures or tragic tales. Queen Mary I of England. Many believe the name derives from the 16th century English monarch, who earned the nickname Bloody Mary due to her brutal persecution and execution of Protestants during her reign. The Buried Alive. Another theory suggests the legend describes a young woman who suffered from a condition that made her appear dead, leading her family to bury her prematurely. She allegedly awoke in her coffin, clawing at the lid until she perished, leaving a vengeful spirit behind. The Witch or Outcast. Other variations describe her as a woman accused of witchcraft, or a local social outcast who was murdered, leaving her face covered in blood as she took her final breath. Scientific perspective. Why do we see hallucinations? From a scientific and psychological standpoint, the experience of seeing strange images in a mirror while in darkness is not supernatural, but rather the result of the Troxler effect. When a person stares fixedly at an object or their own reflection for an extended period in low-light conditions, the brain becomes deprived of clear visual input. The nervous system attempts to fill in the gaps, leading to distorted perceptions and visual hallucinations, causing the brain to construct grotesque or frightening facial features where there are none. Despite scientific explanations, Bloody Mary remains a powerful legend. It serves as a testament to the universal human fear of mirrors and the unsettling realization of what might be looking back at us if we stare into the darkness for too long. Have you ever attempted a mirror ritual like this? Or have you heard similar legends in other cultures?
In the vast expanse of the North Atlantic Ocean, an area bounded by Miami, Florida, Bermuda, and San Juan, Puerto Rico, has long captivated the global imagination, known as the Bermuda Triangle, or, as many call it, the Devil's Triangle. This region has developed a chilling reputation as a watery graveyard that consumes ships and aircraft without a trace. Myths and legends, where fact meets folklore. The fame of the Bermuda Triangle gained significant momentum in the mid-20th century, particularly following the infamous Flight 19 incident in 1945. 5 U.S. Navy bombers vanished during a routine training mission, along with a rescue aircraft sent to find them, fueling intense public speculation. These incidents gave rise to numerous theories ranging from the scientific to the supernatural. Supernatural phenomena. Tales often link disappearances to extraterrestrials, the lost city of Atlantis, or even trans-dimensional portals. Magnetic anomalies. A popular theory suggests that compasses in this region point to true north instead of magnetic north, causing catastrophic navigational errors. Methane hydrates. Some scientists propose that massive releases of methane gas trapped on the sea floor could reduce water density, sinking ships rapidly, or cause engines to stall and ignite. Extreme weather. The area is a convergence point for the Gulf Stream and frequent hurricanes, which can generate massive rogue waves, walls of water reaching over 30 meters in height in an instant. The scientific perspective, the reality behind the mystery. While the legends are intriguing, major institutions like the National Oceanic Administration, or NOAA, and maritime insurance giants like Lloyd's of London offer a more grounded explanation. There is no evidence that disappearances occur with any greater frequency in the Bermuda Triangle than in any other well-traveled section of the ocean. Why does it seem so dangerous? High traffic volume. This region is a major transit corridor for shipping and aviation between the Americas, Europe, and the Caribbean. Statistically, more traffic simply leads to a higher probability of accidents. Challenging environment. The area is home to intense currents and some of the deepest ocean trenches in the world, making the recovery of sunken wreckage nearly impossible. Human error. The primary cause of most maritime and aviation incidents is not a mystical force, but rather severe weather conditions, navigational miscalculations, or equipment failure. Conclusion. The Bermuda Triangle is not a cursed graveyard intent on swallowing lives. It is a region defined by dynamic natural forces and serves as one of the world's most vital transportation routes. The mysteries surrounding it may largely be a byproduct of human fear when confronted with the sheer power of nature. In today's age of advanced satellite technology and navigation, we have a clearer understanding of the area than ever before. Yet, the Bermuda Triangle remains a humbling reminder of the sheer scale of the ocean, a vast force that humanity must always respect. What are your thoughts on the scientific theories that debunk the supernatural claims surrounding this region? Imagine waking up in the dead of night, hearing the sound of chains dragging across your floor, only to realize you are the only one awake, but you are not alone. The legend of the Bell Witch is widely considered one of the most famous, well-documented, and chilling paranormal cases in American history. Centered in Adams, Tennessee, during the early 19th century, it remains a haunting blend of folklore, mystery, and historical tragedy. The Haunting of the Bell Farm. In 1804, John Bell, a prosperous farmer, moved his family from North Carolina to a 10,000-acre tract of land along the Red River in Robertson County, Tennessee. For over a decade, the family lived in peace until 1817, when the inexplicable began. The manifestations. The haunting started with subtle, unsettling phenomena. John Bell reported seeing strange, shape-shifting creatures on his property. A dog with the head of a rabbit, a large black dog, and a massive bird perched on a fence. Soon the disturbances moved inside the home. The family heard mysterious knocking on walls, the sound of invisible dogs fighting, chains dragging across the floor, and the unsettling noise of someone gnawing at the bedposts. Escalation and violence. As time passed, the entity became increasingly aggressive, particularly toward John Bell and his youngest daughter, Betsy. The witch, as it came to be known, would pull hair, slap, pinch, and stick the children with invisible pins. It was capable of physical manipulation, often pulling bedsheets off the family while they slept. The voice of Kate. The entity eventually began to speak in a human voice. It claimed to be the spirit of old Kate Batts, a neighbor with whom John Bell had allegedly had a business dispute. Despite its malevolent nature, the spirit was also known to be clairvoyant. Once repeated 2 sermons, word for word, that were delivered at the same time in churches 13 miles apart. The death of John Bell. The spirit harbored a deep, vocal hatred for John Bell, whom it referred to as Old Jack. It frequently cursed him and vowed to cause his death. In December 2020, Bell's health began to decline rapidly, characterized by a mysterious paralysis in his mouth. In December 2020, Bell passed away. A mysterious vial of black liquid was found in the cupboard. When a drop was tested on a cat, the animal died instantly. The spirit reportedly claimed responsibility for the poisoning, singing raucous drinking songs during the patriarch's funeral, much to the horror of the mourners. Aftermath and legacy. Following John Bell's death, the activity focused heavily on preventing Betsy from marrying a local man named Joshua Gardner. Driven by the spirit's relentless torment and threats, Betsy eventually broke off the engagement. In 1821, the entity announced it was leaving the family, but promised to return in 7 years. According to local lore, it briefly returned in 1828 to visit John Bell, Jr., but the intense years-long manifestation had largely ceased. Do you find the historical accounts of the Bell Witch more compelling, or do you lean towards the theory that this was a result of local superstition and psychological stress? The legend of the Bell Witch remains one of the most chilling chapters in American folklore because it forces us to ask, what happens when the things we fear the most stop hiding in the shadows and start speaking to us? If you are fascinated by the intersection of history and the unexplained, you won't want to miss our next deep dive into the world's most haunting mysteries. Make sure to hit that follow button and join our community so you never miss a story that will keep you up at night.
The Tower of London is not only a historic site but also a symbol of English power and history. Established in 1078 by William the Conqueror, it has evolved through various roles like a fortress, royal palace, prison, and even a zoo. 1. Origins: the Conqueror's vision. Founded as a bulwark against London's conqueror, the tower showcases Norman Romanesque architecture, with its imposing white structure standing as one of the world's most iconic landmarks. 2. Roles over the years. As a royal palace, it housed future monarchs like Elizabeth I. It also served as a notorious prison for notable political figures. Locally known as the place of exclusion, it saw the final execution of Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard, future monarchs. 3. National treasure: the crown jewels. The tower's most famous attraction, the crown jewels, are a collection of valuable regalia, including crowns, scepter, and ceremonial objects, part of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. They are an integral part of royal ceremonies today. 4. Legend of the Ravens. The tower has a darker side, with the legend of the ravens speculating on a falling kingdom. In 1451, King Charles II ordered 6 ravens kept at the tower to maintain stability. Today's ravens are housed by a dedicated raven master, sharing the tower's iconic reputation. 5. Behind the screen, the yeoman warders. Serving as the tower's wardens since 1475, the yeoman warders are responsible for security and storytelling of the tower's turbulent history. For a complete exploration of the Tower of London, consider visiting the main towers, the Royal Armouries, and the historic Jewel House. Arriving early in the morning offers a peaceful exploration and combats the tourist hype.
The Catacombs of Paris. Into the Empire of the Dead. Stop. This is the Empire of the Dead. These chilling words greet those who descend into the dark, silent labyrinth beneath the streets of Paris. Known as the Catacombs, this subterranean network serves as the final resting place for over 6 million people, offering a haunting glimpse into the city's complex history. The origins, a city in crisis. By the late 18th century, Paris was facing a severe public health crisis. Its cemeteries, most notably the Les Innocents graveyard, were severely overcrowded, leading to the foul stench of decay and the spread of disease among the living. To solve this, authorities ordered the mass relocation of skeletal remains into the abandoned limestone mines located 20 meters beneath the city. This massive undertaking took place at night to prevent public panic and ensure the dignity of the deceased. A macabre masterpiece. What distinguishes the catacombs from a standard cemetery is the artistic arrangement of the bones. Rather than simple heaps, the femurs and skulls are meticulously stacked into elaborate patterns and walls that line the narrow tunnels. This combination of structural necessity and artistic intent creates an environment that is both deeply unsettling and profoundly respectful of the history contained within. The climate remains a constant, chilling 14 degrees Celsius, further enhancing the somber atmosphere of this underground world. The Forbidden Labyrinth. While the network of tunnels spans over 300 kilometers, only a small 2-kilometer segment is open for public viewing. The vast majority of the tunnel system remains closed to the public and is strictly off-limits. Despite this, a subculture known as cataphiles continues to explore these forbidden, unmapped corridors, treating the maze as a secretive sanctuary beyond the reach of the city above. Essential visitor information. Capacity. The site holds the remains of over 6 million individuals. Depth. Located approximately 20 meters below ground level. The route. The official public path covers 2 kilometers and typically takes 45 to 60 minutes to complete. Preparation. Visitors must navigate 130 steps down and 83 steps up. The tunnels are damp, dimly lit, and require comfortable footwear. The Paris catacombs are more than just an underground site. They are a stark, poetic reminder of human mortality and the layers of history that form the foundation of our modern world. It is an essential journey for those who wish to see the hidden face of Paris. Would you be interested in learning about the specific urban legends and ghost stories that are whispered about in the depth of the catacombs?
The nightmare beneath the mattress. Why this urban legend won't die. We have all experienced this scenario. A long, exhausting journey. The tedious checking-in process at a hotel. And a startling moment upon waking up when you discover something peculiar. A faint, sickly, metallic scent. As if awakening from a nightmare, you brush it off, thinking it's nothing more than the usual. You toss your clothes across the room, ready to escape, only to realize it might be a room shared with someone who never checked out. This body under the bed. Urban legend is a brutal reminder of how deeply ingrained fear can be. It exploits our innate sense of safety and creates an haunting reality. Show that disturbingly violates our perceived sanctuary. The anatomy of the legend. The story is simple, but it has managed to survive because it taps into our innate fear of the unknown. A couple arrives at a hotel room seeking comfort, yet the unexplained strange odor violates their safety, and they turn to an investigative journey. For years, skeptics dismissed this tale as just a motivational story, teaching children to stay away from seedy motels. But the reality goes much deeper. A recurring horror, this legend is based on real-life scenarios, confirmed in major cities across the globe. The Kansas City Discovery. In Kansas City, Missouri, The most famous illustration of this tragic tale occurred at the Budget Lodge Inn. 2003. Guests started complaining about an unbearable, foul smell. Fueled by curiosity, management investigate thoroughly, finding a man, deceased for days, hidden within a mattress, made famous by one of the most famous urban legends today. Why this story remains fascinating. We may question why we are drawn to this story, but the fascination lies in the truth it illustrates. In a world of high-speed travel and anonymous lodging, we are all merely transient guests. We play host to the history of another person, leaving behind a void of an unknown history. Through this tale, the realities of hotel rooms and unexplored mysteries become a reality that many people are willing to accept in order to keep the fear alive, for personal comfort and self-defense. You go to a party, you meet a stranger, and you accept a drink. The next thing you remember is waking up, not in your bed, but in a bathtub filled with ice. You feel a dull, throbbing pain in your lower back. You reach behind you, and you find bandages, and a note that says, "Call 911 or you will die." Is it just a campfire story? Or is it a warning about a black market that operates in the shadows? Let's talk about the kidney thief. 1. The legend of the stolen organ. The story of the kidney thief is perhaps the most famous modern cautionary tale. It tells of a traveler, often a business person or a tourist, who is drugged. After a night out, they wake up in a cheap motel room, submerged in a tub of ice to prevent hemorrhaging. A phone is left nearby with a note, instructing them to call emergency services because their kidney has been surgically removed. It is a terrifying narrative that plays on our deepest fears of helplessness and the violation of our own bodies. 2. The reality behind the horror. When this story first went viral in the late 90s, the internet branded it as a myth. But as technology and global connectivity grew, the lines began to blur. While the specific bathtub scenario and random stranger being snatched off the street is statistically rare, the reality of illegal organ harvesting is a very documented, very dark global industry. Criminal syndicates often exploit vulnerable populations in developing nations, coercing or tricking them into donating organs for massive payouts on the black market. 3. Why this story keeps us up at night. Why does this legend persist? Because it's not impossible. It reminds us that there is a shadow economy where human body parts are treated as commodities. It targets the fear that we are just pieces of meat to the wrong kind of people. Whether the bathtub in ice story is a literal occurrence or a collective metaphor for the vulnerability of being a traveler in a strange place, the lesson remains the same. In a world that feels increasingly disconnected, we need to be hyper-aware of our surroundings. We like to think we are safe in our daily routines, but urban legends like this remind us how fast life can change. If you've ever had a gut feeling that something wasn't right while traveling or meeting someone new, you were probably listening to your survival instinct. I want to hear from you. Do you think the kidney thief is purely a myth? Or have you heard a local version of this story that actually happened in your country? Drop your thoughts or any real-life horror stories you've heard in the comments below. Don't forget to like and follow if you want to keep exploring the darker side of reality with me. They say there's a secret ritual that can take you out of this world, literally. It's called the elevator game. It requires just one elevator, a specific sequence of buttons, and an absolute lack of fear. But be warned, if you encounter a mysterious woman during the ritual, do not speak to her, because if you play this game, you might find your way to another dimension, but you might never find the way back. Are you brave enough to press the buttons? Let's find out. How to play, and why you shouldn't. 1. The ritual. Originating from Korean and Japanese occult forums, the ritual is deceptively simple. You must be alone in a building with at least 10 floors. The sequence is precise: 4th floor, 2nd floor, 6th floor, 2nd floor, 10th floor. At the 10th floor, you press the 5th. If you follow the rules perfectly, you won't arrive at the 5th floor. Instead, the elevator will take you to an other world. 2. The rules of the other world. Legends claim that when the doors open in this dimension, You will be in the same building, but everything will be dark. You might see a red cross in the distance. And then, there's the woman. People say she enters the elevator on the 5th floor. She might try to talk to you, or she might just stand there. The cardinal rule of the game is, do not interact with her. Under no circumstances should you speak, look, or acknowledge her existence. 3. The risk of being trapped. Many who have tried this ritual report a feeling of overwhelming dread, a sense that they are being hunted or watched by something that doesn't belong in our reality. The scariest part? The elevator doors might not close to take you back, or the sequence might fail entirely, leaving you stranded in a dark, silent version of your building forever. Science says it's just a psychological trick, the power of suggestion, and the creepiness of being alone in the dark. But every time someone tells this story, they swear it feels real. So, I have to ask, if you knew you could visit another dimension, but there was a 50/50th chance you'd never come home, would you step into that elevator? Tell me your answer in the comments below. And tag a friend who is too scared to even watch this video. They say she's still waiting. For a love that ended centuries ago. For a promise that was never kept. Have you ever felt a sudden chill, or heard a faint, sorrowful hum near the water at night? You might not be alone. The story, The Lady in White. Legends whisper of a figure that defies the passage of time. She is known simply as the Lady in White, dressed in a flowing, tattered gown that seems to shimmer like moonlight against the dark. She is most often spotted near ancient stone bridges or the desolate edges of forgotten lakes. Her face is usually turned away or obscured by the thick, unnatural mist that accompanies her appearance. The legend. Local folklore suggests she was once a bride-to-be, waiting for her lover to return from a journey across the water. As the story goes, his ship was lost to a violent storm, and he never made it home. Consumed by grief, she haunted the shoreline every night until her final breath. Centuries have passed, but the tragedy hasn't faded. Those who claim to have seen her describe an overwhelming sense of profound sorrow. She doesn't scream. She doesn't attack. She simply wanders, searching for a face she will never see again, trapped in an eternal loop of heartbreak. Is it just a ghost story, or is she truly still there? Some say that if you stand on that bridge during a full moon, you might hear the soft rustle of silk behind you. But be warned, don't look back. Legend has it that those who try to catch a glimpse of her face are forever haunted by the sadness in her eyes. Do you believe in spirits that are bound by love? Or is this just a story to keep us away from the water at night? Tell me your local urban legends in the comments below. I'm dying to hear them. Have you ever walked past a toy store after hours and felt a prickle of static on your skin? A sudden urge to look away? You tell yourself it's just dust, shadows, and overactive imagination. But some places in this world refuse to be ignored. Welcome to the tale of Miller's Antiquities, a place where the dolls don't just stare, they observe. And they say that once the lock clicks shut at sundown, the shopkeeper isn't the one in charge anymore. If you've ever wondered why the toys are never in the same place twice, you're about to find out why. The shop sits on the corner of an alleyway that even the streetlights seem to avoid. It's packed floor to ceiling with porcelain dolls, rusted clockwork soldiers, and marionettes with glass eyes that seem to track movement across the room. The locals know the rules. Never go near the glass after midnight. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. 3 years ago, a teenager named Elias decided to test the legend. He pressed his face against the cold pane of glass, phone camera ready, hoping to catch a glitch, a prank, or a wire. He didn't find any wires. At exactly 3:15 a.m., the atmosphere changed. Elias described it as a sudden drop in pressure, a silence so absolute it made his ears ring. Then, the clicking started. It was the sound of stiff, wooden joints forcing themselves to move. Through the glass, he saw the primary display, a Victorian-era dollhouse. He swore on his life that when he arrived, the tiny kitchen table was set for tea. Now, the chairs were overturned, and the doll inside was pressed against the glass of the miniature window, looking out directly at him. But it wasn't just the dolls. The larger figurines, the life-sized harlequins, had shifted. They had turned their heads away from the wall to face the storefront. They weren't just standing anymore. They were leaning, and they were getting closer to the door. Elias started to pull away, but he froze. He realized why the shopkeeper always locked the door, not to keep us out, but to keep them in. He claimed that for one terrifying second, the reflection in the glass didn't show the street behind him. It showed the inside of the shop, and in the reflection, the front door was standing wide open. He hadn't heard a hinge, he hadn't heard a lock turn, but a path had been cleared. The dolls had moved aside, standing in perfect rows, creating an aisleway leading from the back of the store straight to where he stood. He didn't stick around to see what was walking down that aisle. He ran, and he never looked back. Some secrets are better left buried in the dark, behind locked doors and frosted glass, because the next time you feel like you're being watched in a room full of toys, it's probably not just your imagination. What's the most unsettling thing you've ever seen in an antique store? Drop your experiences in the comments below. If you want more stories that will make you double-check your locks tonight, make sure you hit that follow button. Is your doll really just a toy? We've all seen the movies. But do you know the terrifying truth behind the porcelain smile? The real Annabelle isn't a plastic prop. She is a vessel, a warning, and a permanent resident of a room you hope to never enter. The haunting history of Annabelle. The story of Annabelle began in 1970 when a mother purchased a raggedy and doll from a hobby shop as a gift for her daughter, Donna, a nursing student. At first, it seemed like a harmless childhood keepsake. However, Donna and her roommate, Angie, soon noticed that the doll's position would change on its own. The escalation. The phenomena went from unsettling to outright dangerous. The moving doll. The doll would move from room to room, often found sitting on a bed or a sofa in a different room than where it was left. The notes. The roommates began finding handwritten messages on parchment paper that read, "Help us and help Lou." Despite no parchment paper being present in their apartment, the attacks, a friend named Lou, who was deeply skeptical of the doll, claimed to have been attacked by an unseen force while waking up from a nap. He reported scratches appearing on his chest, which vanished almost as quickly as they appeared. The possession. A medium eventually informed the roommates that the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a deceased child named Annabelle Higgins. However, renowned paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren later, concluded that it was never a child. It was a non-human, demonic entity manipulating them into letting their guard down. Where is she now? Today, Annabelle resides at the Warrens Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut. She is locked inside a custom-built, blessed wooden case with a warning sign. Warning, positively do not open. Even behind glass, visitors report a lingering sense of dread, and the Warrens maintained that the doll remained active for decades, requiring regular exorcisms to keep the entity dormant. Why we can't look away. Annabelle taps into our primal fear of the uncanny valley, the idea that things which look almost human, but not quite, are inherently creepy. Whether you are a firm believer in the paranormal or a skeptic who loves a good urban legend, Annabelle remains the gold standard for haunted object lore. She reminds us that sometimes the scariest things are the ones sitting silently on our shelves. Have you ever wondered why some places seem cursed? If bricks and mortar could hold memories, the walls of the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles would be screaming. This isn't just a hotel. It is a vertical graveyard that has swallowed countless lives for nearly a century. Long before the world became obsessed with Eliza Lamb's chilling elevator footage, the Cecil had already earned its reputation as the Hotel of Death. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the darkest, most terrifying chapter in American history. Built in 1924, the Cecil was intended to be the crown jewel of downtown LA, with its grand marble lobbies and stained glass. It was the definition of luxury. But when the Great Depression hit, the dream died. The hotel rapidly descended, shifting from a premier destination to a transient hub for the desperate, the lonely, and the dangerous. Located right next to the notorious Skid Row, The Cecil became a place where people checked, in under fake names, often, intending to never check out again. The violence here wasn't just occasional, it was a pattern. In 1944, a guest in a dissociative state discarded her newborn from a high-story window. In 1962, a woman named Pauline Otten jumped from the 9th floor, landing on a pedestrian below, killing them both instantly. In 1964, a beloved local resident, known as Pigeon Goldie, was raped and murdered in her own room. The case was never solved. These weren't just stories. They were people whose lives were erased by the cold, in different walls of the Cecil. And then, there were the monsters. In the 1980s, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, one of history's most prolific serial killers, made the Cecil his home. He would dump his bloody clothes in the hotel's bins and walk into the lobby in his underwear. Yet no one stopped him. He wasn't alone. In 1991, Austrian serial killer Jack Unterweger checked in, allegedly to research crime, while he spent his nights stalking and murdering women in the surrounding streets. The Cecil didn't just house these men, it hid them. The Cecil Hotel is a reflection of the darkest corners of human nature. You have to wonder, is it just an unlucky building in a bad neighborhood? Or is there something inherently wrong with this place? What do you think? Drop your theories in the comments below. And if you're addicted to the deep dive of true crime, make sure to follow this page for more chilling stories. The Silent Void, unveiling the haunting mystery of Aokigahara. At the foot of Mount Fuji lies a landscape so breathtakingly beautiful that it feels otherworldly. Sunlight filters through a dense canopy of ancient hemlock and cypress. Moss blankets the volcanic rock like a thick, green velvet, and the air is heavy with the scent of pine and earth. This is Aokigahara, the sea of trees. Yet, beneath this serene facade lies a place defined not by its beauty, but by a profound, suffocating silence that has earned it a reputation as one of the most unsettling places on earth, a legacy of sorrow, from legend to reality. To understand the dread that permeates Aokigahara, one must look back at its grim folklore. Centuries ago, during times of famine, the forest was whispered to be the setting of yubashute, a harrowing practice where elderly or infirm relatives were taken into the deep woods and abandoned, left to face their end in isolation. While historians debate the historical prevalence of yubashute, the legend took deep root in the Japanese consciousness. This narrative of abandonment and finality set a psychological tone for the forest that persists to this day. Aokigahara is not merely a collection of trees. It is a repository of sorrow, a place where the barrier between the physical world and the spiritual realm feels dangerously thin. The geography of dread. The forest's unique geography contributes significantly to its eerie atmosphere. Aokigahara sits on a vast expanse of solidified lava flows. From the great eruption of Mount Fuji in 864 AD, this porous rock creates a subterranean maze of deep caves and uneven, jagged terrain. Because of the density of the trees and the uneven ground, the forest floor absorbs sound in a way that is unnerving. The sea of trees is paradoxically silent. The wind is muted, birds are scarce, and the sheer vastness of the forest creates a total sensory deprivation that can cause even the most composed visitor to lose their sense of direction. It is a place where you are truly, terrifyingly alone, a geographical trap where nature itself seems to conspire to keep you within its grasp. The duality of beauty and tragedy. Why does Aokigahara continue to captivate the world? It is the chilling juxtaposition of the sublime and the tragic. The forest is undeniably gorgeous, a primeval wilderness untouched by modern industry. Yet, this natural perfection serves as a stark, ironic contrast to the darkness that many associate with it. It reminds us that nature is indifferent to human suffering, that, in the face of such overwhelming, ancient silence, our own stories, tragedies, and fears are both magnified and rendered incredibly small. Aokigahara serves as a poignant reminder of the importance of mental health awareness and the need for compassion in our communities. If you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out for support. You are never as alone as the silence of the forest might make you feel. The Haunting Legacy, unveiling the truth behind La Isla de las Muñecas, deep within the murky, winding canals of Xochimilco, Mexico, lies a place that defies logic and chills the soul. It is not a tourist trap in the traditional sense, but a testament to one man's obsessive quest for spiritual peace. Welcome to La Isla de las Muñecas, the island of the dolls, the origin of the obsession. The story begins with Julian Santana Barrera, a recluse who moved to a small island in the Texuelo Lake area in the 1950s. According to local law, Julian discovered the body of a young girl who had drowned in the canal. Soon after, he began to feel haunted by her spirit. Believing he was being tormented by the girl's restless soul, Julian sought a way to appease her. He started finding dolls, discarded, broken, and decaying, in the trash and hanging them from the trees surrounding his home. He believed that the dolls would act as vessels for the girl's spirit, eventually becoming possessed by her presence to ward off evil. Decades of devotion. For over 50 years, Julian continued his grim ritual. What began as a few dolls grew into thousands. Today, the island is a labyrinth of decaying toys, with their limbs missing, eyes missing or staring blankly, and skin blackened by the elements. The dolls create an atmosphere of profound unease. Julian's devotion was absolute. He lived in isolation, speaking to the dolls as if they were his companions, meticulously rearranging them to please the spirit he felt watched over him. In a haunting twist of fate, in 2001, Julian was found drowned, in the exact same spot where he claimed to have discovered the young girl decades earlier, a place between worlds. Today, La Isla de las Muñecas remains a site of pilgrimage for the curious and the brave. It stands as a physical manifestation of grief, superstition, and the blurred lines between reality and the paranormal. Visitors often report feeling watched by the glassy, hollow eyes of the dolls, while others describe an heavy, lingering energy that permeates the air. Whether you view it as a tragic memorial or a cursed landscape, the island forces you to confront the power of belief and the lengths to which a human heart will go to find redemption. Are you brave enough to step onto the island? The island of the dolls isn't just a place of decay, it's a mirror reflecting our own fascinations with the macabre and the mysteries that lie beyond death. What do you think? Is Julian's legacy an act of pure devotion, or did he fall victim to a dark obsession? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Deep within the heart of Transylvania lies a forest that doesn't obey the laws of nature. It's known as the Hoia-Bochu Forest, the Bermuda Triangle of Romania. People who enter here report disappearing for hours, experiencing inexplicable physical burns, and even seeing lights in the sky that defy explanation. Scientists have spent decades trying to solve the mystery, but the forest keeps its secrets. Are you looking at a paranormal gateway, or something even more dangerous? Let's step inside. 1. The twisted trees. The first thing you'll notice in Hoia-Bochu are the trees. They don't grow straight. They twist, contort, and spiral in ways that shouldn't be biologically possible. Locals believe these trees mark the spot of a tragic past, while others claim they are evidence of a high-energy field that alters living things at the cellular level. 2. The missing time phenomenon. The most disturbing legends involve missing time. Visitors have reported stepping into the forest in broad daylight, only to emerge hours later to find the sun has set, with no memory of what happened in between. It's not just a feeling. Some have emerged with physical symptoms, unexplained rashes, severe burns, and a lingering sensation of intense, paralyzing dread. 3. The intersection of science and myth. Is it a portal? UFO sightings are frequently reported above the canopy, and some paranormal. Researchers claim the forest acts as a bridge between dimensions, but there is also a dark, historical weight here. Local folklore suggests the forest is cursed, a place where the spirits of the past never truly moved on. Whether it's a magnetic anomaly or something supernatural, one thing is certain: Hoya Bochu doesn't want you to stay. The Hoya Bochu forest remains, one of the greatest mysteries on Earth. Some call it a scientific anomaly, while others say it's a place that just doesn't belong to our world. If you were standing at the edge of this forest, and you heard a whisper calling your name from the dark, would you turn back, or would you walk in to find the source? Let me know your choice in the comments below. And if you're brave enough, hit that follow button for more journeys into the unknown. The Bunny Man, unmasking Virginia's most chilling urban legend. Deep in the heart of Fairfax County, Virginia, lies a quiet, unassuming overpass known as Colchester Overpass. By day, it is a simple piece of infrastructure connecting local roads, but by night, the shadows seem to stretch, and locals speak in hushed tones of a figure that has haunted the region for decades. The Bunny Man. Is it merely a ghost story born from teenage boredom? Or is there a dark, tangible history hidden beneath the concrete? The legend, from asylum to axe. The story of the Bunny Man typically begins in 1904, according to local folklore. A group of patients from a nearby asylum for the criminally insane were being transported. When their bus crashed, most were recaptured, but one man, Douglas Grifton, escaped. For weeks, authorities found the mutilated remains of skinned rabbits hanging from the trees near the overpass. Eventually, they found Grifton's body hanging from the bridge itself. Since then, legend has it that if you visit the bridge at night, you might encounter a man wearing a blood-stained rabbit suit, wielding a sharp axe, warning trespassers to stay away from his territory. The 1970s, the real sightings. The legend exploded into the public consciousness in 1970, when two separate police reports were filed in Fairfax County. October 19th, 1970, a cadet and his fiancée reported that a figure dressed in a white suit with long, drooping rabbit ears stepped out of the darkness and shouted, "You are trespassing on private property," before hurling a hatchet at their car windshield. October 29th, 1970, another security guard reported seeing a man dressed in a bunny suit chopping at a porch post of a home under construction. While skeptics argue these were pranks or misidentifications, the police reports remain in the archives of the Fairfax County Police Department, lending the story a terrifying air of authenticity. Why does the Bunny Man endure? The Bunny Man remains a staple of American folklore because he represents the corruption of innocence, an animal traditionally associated with Easter, warmth, and childhood becomes a harbinger of death. The bridge acts as a liminal space, a threshold between the safety of the modern world and the ancient, primal fear of the dark. Are you brave enough? Urban legends thrive on the curiosity of the living. While we may never know the true origin of the Bunny Man, his legacy serves as a reminder that every town has its secrets, and some stories are better left in the dark. Would you dare to visit the Colchester Overpass at midnight? Or do you prefer to keep your urban legends behind the safety of a screen? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The Ancient Ram Inn, a night among the echoes. Deep in the heart of Wootton-Undridge, Gloucestershire, stands a structure that defies the cosy charm of typical English bed and breakfasts. This is the Ancient Ram Inn. Built in 1145, it is not just a building. It is a repository of agony, a place where the veil between the living and the dead is said to be dangerously thin. The foundation of fear. The inn was constructed on the intersection of two ley lines, which many occultists believe act as conduits for spiritual energy. More disturbingly, it sits atop a site where ancient pagan rituals, including child sacrifice, were allegedly performed. When you step across the threshold of the ancient ram, you aren't just entering a historic home. You are stepping onto ground that has been soaked in centuries of trauma. Architecture as a cage. The physical layout of the building is often cited as the reason for its oppressive atmosphere. With its cramped, low-ceilinged rooms, winding staircases, and uneven stone floors, the house feels less like a dwelling and more like a trap. The Witch's Room, often described as the epicenter of activity, it is said to be the site where a woman, accused of witchcraft, was hunted and killed in the 1500s. The Bishop's Room, known for the feeling of being pushed by invisible forces. Many guests report an intense, claustrophobic pressure that makes breathing difficult. The staircase, the narrow, steep incline serves as a physical bottleneck, where heavy footsteps are frequently heard pacing back and forth, as if the house itself is guarding its secrets. The lack of natural light and the oppressive weight of the timber frame seam, designed to corral negative energy, preventing it from dissipating. Visitors often report the sensation of being watched from the shadows of corners where no one stands, or feeling the sudden, ice-cold touch of an unseen hand. A real-life horror set. Why does The Ancient Ram Inn go viral? Because it provides a visceral, sensory experience that movies struggle to replicate. There is no CGI here, only the suffocating silence of an old room, the smell of damp earth, and the genuine, palpable dread that settles in your chest the moment you turn off the lights. It is the ultimate real-life horror set, waiting for the next brave, or foolish, soul to spend the night. Are you brave enough to face the darkness? The spirits of the ancient ram in a waiting, and they have centuries of stories to tell. If you think you have the nerves to survive a night in England's most cursed location, book your stay, if you dare.